This is one of the most unique, I would say, well-designed squat racks made for a home gym, but this is the most slept on squat rack design, I think. So today I'm gonna do a full review on the Ironmaster IM2000. Sam said it sounded like a Will Smith movie, definitely does. There are so many squat racks that are available today, and this is competing against them. So I'm gonna compare them to others and tell you what I think about it. Let's get into the review. Hey guys, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Today I'm reviewing the Ironmaster IM2000. This is a rack that's actually been requested for review for some time. This is a rack that's been out nearly a decade. Ironmaster is slept on a lot. In fact, their bench, the reason I reviewed that bench initially was because I got so many requests to do it. I reviewed it and I freaking loved it. It's the bench I use more than any other. I love that bench. Honestly, I don't really use any other bench. That's the bench I use because it's very well designed. The problem with Ironmaster, and Ironmaster, if you're listening, I'm sorry for saying this, but your marketing sucks. It's very bad. If you go to their website, it looks like the website and pictures haven't been updated since 1990. Literally, it looks like they went to a Life Touch picture company that would show up for, picture day at school. They'd bring the background that rolled out and it had like the smoky gradient background. That's the background for Ironmaster photos. Now, Ironmaster isn't a marketing company. They're a gym equipment company. So don't take offense to this Ironmaster because your equipment is incredibly well designed. But the problem is because the marketing and website and photos don't line up to how well the products are designed, I think there's a disconnect and the market doesn't recognize how good Ironmaster products are. But there's really nothing else like this because this can be used as a squat rack. There's other things that can do some of the stuff that this does, but not in the way that this does. So many other companies, what they do, and you'll find this, is they just white label products. So it's so similar amongst companies, or they're copying other companies' designs and making minor tweaks. This is something that honestly was built from the ground up, which is really cool. So this can operate as a squat rack, but really what it's designed and does best is as a self-spotting machine, a Smith machine, but does it in a very unique way, but then can be used as a lat pull down low row and belt squat. And they've got a pec deck attachment for this bad boy. They got all sorts of stuff that you can do with this, but the way that it does it is what makes it most unique. Let's start with the squat rack and Smith machine, and then I'll kind of get through what I think is most unique about it. Okay, so they call this a self-spotting machine, I think because they want to differentiate somewhat from a Smith machine. Most Smith machines that you see today, whether they're in commercial gyms or home gyms, have two guide rods and sealed bearings within them. They make that like noise, like you're used to that. That's what most Smith machines use. This is using some special stuff. They actually say this on the site multiple times. They're using a specially coated safety rail with a special polymer material bushing. There's a lot of special stuff going on here. Really what makes it special is rather than guide rods being used for the smoothness that makes it go up and down, they're using just basically a standard upright that has basically this coating on it. And the coating can be somewhat annoying because when you touch it, it's like, ugh, what is that? It gets on your hand. But they're using a polymer bushing inside, which may be similar, I don't know, to what Rep is now using. Rep may have been inspired by them to use this on their trolleys. But I will say it's extremely smooth. Is this the coating? Okay. Ooh. Armeca silicone. Just like Ironmaster, they haven't updated their logo in years. Regardless of this not using bearings and guide rods, this is an extremely smooth Smith machine. It feels, honestly, in some ways even better than a Smith machine because you're not having to hear the noise, and I don't know, it is very smooth. But it needs to be smooth because it's the central point for everything you do with this machine. It's designed to be used for the self-spotting, like basically Smith machine component, but it's also designed to be the weight carriage for everything else. And that's what makes this most unique. The way that you use any other function on this is by attaching weight to the self-spotter mechanism. And that is what makes it so smart because rather than having a bunch of stacks you have to work with, having a separate weight trolley you gotta work with, they basically integrated everything around this safety spotter mechanism, which is the Smith machine. Now, the Smith machine itself works a little bit different than most Smith machines. Rather than the locks coming from up top and you roll out, they actually come from the bottom and you roll up. So just a little bit different if you're used to a Smith machine. It just comes out from the bottom, just a little bit different, not a big deal. But because they're using a bunch of holes, and they're big holes off the front of the uprights, you can buy J-cups to use this as a squat rack. They also have half safety spotter arms, so you can use it like a typical squat rack. I wouldn't buy this if you're like, lifting just crazy amount of poundage. Get a normal squat rack. I also wouldn't buy this if you're wanting like a ton of attachments from other companies that work with other companies and is modular with other companies. Ironmaster makes ecosystems. You see this with their bench. You see this with the IM2000. They're making something that you have to go to them for the accessories. Thankfully, they have a lot of accessories. They're well-designed accessories. The quality, Ironmaster is just very specific. They're just different than every other company. You can see this, they use a lot of chrome. They're knurling a lot of things. Their stuff, honestly, when you look at it, looks kind of cheap. Like, I'm just being honest. I asked some of the people that are here, like, what do you think this costs? It just looks kind of cheap. Like the sticker off the back, it's the best you can give me. That sticker, got to take a heat gun to that bad boy to get that off. But it looks kind of cheap, but their stuff is actually very stout. This thing is incredibly stout. Very surprising when you look at it online and then you get it in person. Ironmaster stuff is it's very well made. It just doesn't necessarily look it when you first take a look. The weight of the bar unloaded is 36 pounds. It's not counterbalanced, but 36 for a Smith machine is pretty light. Most are, like one in my garage is 55 pounds starting weight. So 36 should be good for most movements that you're doing. It actually comes with Olympic sleeve adapters that fit on the outside. So it actually can go down to 32 pounds. For some reason you want to save 4 pounds and use standard plates instead of Olympic plates. This can do that. Then to the lat pull down low row. So this is how this whole thing works. You have a lat pull down and you have a low row. The lat pull down comes from the top, obviously. It has a cable that comes around. That cable then, rather than attaching to, say, a plate tree or attaching to a stack, it just goes around the bar. It actually feels kind of silly. It just wraps around there. It doesn't lock in there. It's just a hook. It just hooks around. It's a rubber hook, hooks around the bar, and then you use that for the lat pull downs. It's a fixed length of the cable. So depending on the movement, you may have to add other cables so you can use things like the low row option. But once you attach it, you can set your safety spotters off the bottom. They're spring loaded at whatever height you want. They're pretty easy to adjust. And then you add weight on the bar and then you can use that for lat pull downs. It's actually very quick, very seamless. It's very smooth because it's using the same carriage as the Smith machine. You can load it up to as much weight as you'd ever want to do. It's gonna be on a 1-to-1 ratio, so you can go really heavy. I will say the pulleys on this, like this was designed decade ago, where aluminum pulleys weren't as prevalent. They should offer an aluminum pulley upgrade or a new version that they come out with or whatever. They should definitely offer aluminum pulleys. But I will say, mainly due to the carriage, this is a very smooth on lat pull downs. Then if you want to do low rows, there's this piece that comes off the bottom that swings out on a wheel. That's very smooth too. Comes around, you put a pop pin in the side, then you can do low rows. You can also, they designed it so it's got these foam pads on there, leg rollers. So you can basically sit on the ground, put your legs under it, and then that's your leg roller for lat pull downs. Personally, I prefer doing lat pull downs on a bench where I'm not on the ground, but it works just fine with the leg rollers. One thing on the leg rollers is it's not adjustable up and down, it's just how it is. Also, the leg rollers that come with it standard are the open foam style that Ironmaster uses on some of their other stuff. They suck. Just the older design, they're squishy, they absorb sweat. These ones have covers on them because we ordered the cover. You don't have to order the cover, but you have to buy them if you want them. They don't come standard. So if you want a cover for the foam roller, a la carte, they give you for that. The low row is fine. There's no like diamond foot plate. It's just got 2 blocks. They welded on top of this bar so you can basically have more surface area for your feet to go against. The stretch, I mean, it's about, it's kind of short, so you're not gonna get like that crazy stretch. Basically, however long your legs are, it would be nice if something adjusted out. But it does allow you to, again, use as much weight as you want on the 1-to-1 ratio for the lat pull down, for the Smith machine carriage that you're already using. Then to the belt squat. This is a newer attachment that they have. They have a lot of attachments, by the way. Like, it's an ecosystem. I said they have the pec deck. They also have the belt squat. The belt squat's pretty cool too. Again, Very well thought out. They're using the Smith machine bar for the belt squat too, which also it's a lever style. So basically you're gonna have a fixed point at the back and it goes up and down in kind of an arcing manner. The nice thing about it though, is you can start at the top of the rep, where most of those, unless it's an integrated system, you can't start at the top. You have to like get down, squat up, that whole thing. You don't have to do that with this. You can start at the very top of the rep using the carriage. Again, genius. So basically it wraps around the bar, attaches to the back through a pin. You can take it off and on very quickly. You wrap the belt around. It does allow you to get pretty deep because of the way they basically arc the carabiner. So it allows you to get a lot of depth. You basically stand there, unhook the Smith machine bar just like you would if you're lifting. Actually it goes that way. And then you go up and down, then you close it. It's very smart, very well designed. Like they're just trying to think, how much can we use the Smith machine carriage? And they use it a lot. Now, this one also includes another attachment, which is their ultimate chin-up attachment. It's a really cool attachment. It's very similar to their ultimate row bar, I think it's called. Basically, it has these handles that slide on. You can angle them, you can put them in different directions. It's a square tube, so you can put them just about any way. You can put them as long as the cross member is there. You basically have infinite adjustment. It's stepless, it's very quick, very easy to use. The handles are knurled in chrome. I really like the pull-up attachment. It feels really good. It's, again, like everything else from Ironmaster, there's nothing else like it. It's very well designed. It feels great. Now to the value. This thing isn't cheap, especially when you compare to others on the market and what it has, because this is technically a plate-loaded machine. This is $1,800 for the base unit. The base unit, the main frame, does not include a lot of the stuff that you see. This is where it's a little bit annoying, because most people are gonna want all the stuff that they see on this. Well, they're gonna have to go in and individually add, it just adds up pretty quickly. They do make it so the more money you spend with Ironmaster, the more discount you get. So basically, like to build this out, it came with an 8% discount. Woo, 8%. But it did come with a discount. So basically the main frame is like $1,800. To have basically all this stuff that you see here, including some stuff that seems like that should just come standard. An example of this is on the back plate tree. Those come as standard 1-inch hole pins. So they take standard plates. If you want the Olympic plate adapters like we have on here that just slide on the top, $118 for those. It's like everybody's using Olympic plates. Just include, stuff like that is just like, it just seems kind of weird. So if you were to get the belt squat, the dip handles, the ultimate pull-up attachment, all that kind of stuff that you see here, it's gonna be about $2,500. Here's why I love this thing, because it's so well designed, very useful for the space it takes up, can do so much. My problem is it's just too much for the competitors that are out there. It can't do functional trainer exercises unless you add their chain kit, which is still like a Jimmy rig modified, not as good as what we're used to type of rig. I think this would be amazing. I would have loved to review this like 8 years ago, because there would have been like hardly anything else out there. But today, there's so many competitors, there's just things that need to be updated and upgraded on this. Or it needs to be priced a lot lower. If this was priced a lot lower, like if you could get this around $1,000 with a lot of the, like it's not gonna be as good, but this is an imported product. It doesn't include a weight stack. I think there's just a way that they could get this cheaper. I would recommend this to so many people because of what it can do for a lot of people. For $1,000 or so, this could kill, because there's nothing else like it. But I think they priced themselves in such a way that they have to compete with a lot of options that frankly are just better in what they can do. So you got to decide. Ironmaster, it's a very specific type of product, a very specific type of person that wants them. I really like it, but for me, like the cost is just a little bit prohibitive in comparison to a market that is flooded with all-in-one units now. So just my opinion. I would love to hear what you think of the IM2000. It's well loved by people that have it. like all Ironmaster products. You see this with their quick lock adjustable dumbbells. You see this with their bench. I love their products. It's just this one, very well designed like all the others. Just the price just puts me off a little bit, especially because it's also imported. It's not like it's made in the USA, so they have to have these crazy margins. If Ironmaster is watching this and they want to know what I would change on this, I would not go on the high end with this. I would make this a more budget-ended product. Right now, it's kind of this weird mid-tier. Because it's plate loaded, because you can make it so it's not as heavy duty, because you can import it, you're not using stacks, you can bolt it all together and ship it cheaply, all those sorts of things. I would make this a more budget-ended product that's very well designed. I would not compete with the more expensive option. If they're gonna charge this much, they should include laser cut logos. They should include aluminum poles. Knurling on the bar is poor. The leg curl rollers with the foam pads for 1,800 bucks with the open foam. Give me some covers, include it, you know? It's like stuff like that for the price point. It's like, man, there's a way to sell this cheaper. I definitely think there is. I think you can lower some of the gauge of steel. I think you can make it more bolt together. I just think there's ways that they could make this better for people that are starting a home gym, that this thing could do a ton. And I would highly recommend this over a major fitness rack as a similar price point as those. So, what do you think of the rack? Let me know in the comments. This has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.